In today's video, I'm going to show you how to roll ceilings with a roller and also how to spray ceilings with an airless paint sprayer. And if you're new to this channel, my name's Josh. This channel is all about building your own house, saving a ton of money. So be sure to subscribe, ring that bell so you get a notification every time I release a new video, and hammer that like button for me. That's all I ask for in return for making this video. So I'm going to show you the pros and cons of each, so let's get started. The items you'll want to get to roll your ceilings fast if you don't want to use an airless sprayer is an 18-inch Purdy roller, and this is a 3/8" nap. And this is the paint tray that corresponds with this roller. And I got a Purdy brand 2.5-inch cut brush. And then I got this extension pole that reaches out really far, and you can also extend out even farther if you just loosen up this little nut that's on the handle. And always get these liners, because between each paint, you don't have to switch out or clean up the paint tray. You can just switch out the liners. So that makes it nice and convenient. So that's the stuff you'll need if you're going to be rolling. Now, let's go over stuff you'll need if you're going to be spraying. You clearly need a paint sprayer, and this is a Graco brand Pro X17, and it's airless sprayer, which that's what you want. We'll make sure it's airless. And I got a 40-inch extension. This is a 20-inch plus another 20-inch, and that's for 9-foot ceilings. And you also are going to want to get the roller set up, and you don't need the paint tray or anything, but you just need the roller and the extension. And also, this is a Purdy brand 18-inch roller holder, so you want to get that too when you get this set up. And as far as the paint goes, I like to use the Valspar Signature Line ceiling paint when it comes to painting the ceilings. So I'll show you how to roll it first, and then I'll show you how to spray it. Something else that's very critical that you need to make sure you do if you do decide to spray with the airless sprayer overhead on the ceilings is make sure you mask up any doors or windows that you don't want to get paint on. I use this 3M masker. This is the M3000. If you need to know how to do that, I've made a video about it. You can tap on the link in the top right hand corner of the screen if you need to know how to do that. But definitely make sure you do that before you spray the paint, and also cover anything else up you don't want to get paint on. Okay, so now that we got everything out of the way that you'll need, let's go ahead and start painting those ceilings with the roller. Before you roll your ceilings, what you'll have to do is go through with a cut brush. This is that 2.5-inch cut brush I already showed you, and get a paint pail and just go ahead and dip a small amount of ceiling paint on it and go through and just cut in along the ceiling and walls like this. And what that does, it gives you something to roll up to. So after you're done rolling, it's already cut in around, so I always do that first. And this is the handy paint pail brand, and what I like about it, it has these liners in it. Again, you can switch these in and out too with different paint colors, so I highly recommend it. All right, so let's do that first, and then let's get to rolling. I just cut in around this whole room where the wall and ceiling meets, so now I'm ready to start rolling. So something you need to make sure you do is roll towards the light that's coming into the room. So as you can see, I got this window back here on this wall, so it's throwing the light right into the room like this. So that's the direction I want to roll. So I'm going to want to start back where the window is and roll in this direction. I just set the camera up in front of the window, so all the light's shining right at me. So again, I want to roll towards the window like so. So I don't want to roll this direction, because on the edge of the roller, there could be a little bit more paint than what's in the middle of the roller, and there's going to be a shadow cast as the light goes across the ceiling on those edges, and you'll be able to see it. So you don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and put some paint on our roller here. And now I'm going to go ahead and start in the corner of the room, and we want to go ahead and roll right up to the edge of this wall as close as we can get, and just go in a nice W pattern like so. And I always reach back as far as I can like this. So you more or less just repeat that across the whole room till you get to the end of it. So not that complicated, but now that you know how to roll it, I'm going to finish this room, then we're going to go ahead and spray a room. Okay, I got the paint sprayer primed and ready to go, and I already have it down in the paint, again using the Valspar Signature. And I just wanted to show you the tip I'm going to be using. This is the 515 tip, and also it's on a 40-inch extension because I got 9-foot ceilings. Now for 8-foot ceilings, I usually use this 30-inch extension. Just wanted to show you that. And as far as the pressure setting goes, I have it almost to the max, but not quite, and that seems to be the best pressure for this viscosity of paint. Before I start spraying, I always have the 18-inch roller ready to go for back rolling, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. And I always use a respirator and goggles, and any of the stuff that you've seen in this video can be found in my Amazon store. The link is in the description below. If you do make a purchase from there, I get a small commission, but it's at no extra cost to you. All right, now that you see everything you need to get ready before you start spraying, let's go actually spray this thing. Since I got to wear this mask while I'm spraying, it's going to be difficult for me to talk while I'm spraying, so I'm just going to do a voiceover. So let's get started. As you can see, I'm all decked out here in gear. But what you need to do is just start in the far back section of the room and just spray towards the light. I just spray in the direction I'm going to be rolling, and just make sure you spray close enough to where you can quote unquote cut in using the sprayer. So if you remember rolling before, we had to cut in with the brush. So when you spray, you do not have to cut in with the brush, which makes it tremendously quicker. If you hear some static while you're watching this video, it's from my mic rubbing the bunny suit, just FYI. Okay, so now that we got the paint on the ceiling, now we got to back roll it using the roller. So what I'm doing here now is just rolling right over what I sprayed on the ceiling. And the reason why we do this is there's two very important reasons. For one, you want to give your ceiling, or walls for that matter, some texture, because if you gotta do any touch up, you want to simply use a roller to touch up. You don't want to have to break out your airless sprayer just to touch up a little section of wall. And as you see here, I didn't do a very big section because that way you don't want the paint to set up before you can back roll it. And the second reason why we want to back roll is just in case we did not get the paint on evenly with the sprayer, this will ensure that we got the paint on evenly. So if you're a beginner, definitely want to back roll just for that reason alone. When using the airless sprayer, I overlap half of what I just sprayed, so be sure to do that when you do it as well. That way you get full coverage. And also try to keep your sprayer about 12 inches from the ceiling. That's why I like to use this extension on the 9-foot ceilings. That way I don't have to extend my arm really high, and it'll cause arm fatigue and really wear you down by the end of the day if you don't have an extension. So I would highly recommend getting one. And also I do put 2 coats of ceiling paint on. I read in a couple places some people only do 1 coat because it looks so close to the primer color, but I definitely always be sure to do 2 coats because you can see some splotchiness if you only do 1 coat or areas that you missed, etc. So be sure to do 2 coats. This room is a little difficult to roll towards the light because there's so many windows around, as you can see. So what I did, as you've seen me just do, is I rolled primarily from this side where these windows are towards the wall here that's blank, because I figured there'd be less light shining that way than the bulk of the rest of the room. So that's what I did there. And this is gonna look a little splotchy here for a little bit. It's because it's latex. So after it dries, I'll show you what it looks like. This has been drying for about an hour. And as you can see, it dried and it doesn't look near as splotchy as it did when you put it on wet, and it looks really good. Now we can put on a second coat if we'd like, but we're going to wait till tomorrow to do that. So real quick, I'm going to go over the pros and cons of rolling and spraying. So with rolling, your startup cost to roll your ceilings, it's pretty minimal. So you just got your roller, your extension, your paint tray, your paint pail, your cut brush, just to name a few things. So with the sprayer, you're going to buy the sprayer. It can run you anywhere from $400 up to even $1,000 for some sprayers. So it depends on what you're spraying. So the one I got that you've seen me using, that one was about $500 or so. So that's something you gotta keep in mind, and you still gotta buy your roller if you're gonna be doing back rolling, which I definitely recommend you back roll if you're gonna be spraying. So your startup cost is more with spraying. So as far as speed goes, the speed of spraying the ceiling and back rolling is way quicker than rolling the ceiling by dipping it into your paint tray and then rolling the ceiling. So speed-wise, you definitely want to go with spraying. So what scenario would I recommend you using a sprayer? So as you've seen me here doing, I was spraying in a brand new house. There's no furniture in the way, the floor's not finished, so I didn't have much to mask up other than the windows and doors, so that was pretty quick to do. If I was going to be painting an older house, and let's say I didn't want to paint the ceilings and I had to paint around the base and everything, I'd probably just go ahead and paint with a roller versus using that sprayer, just because there's so much more you got to cover up and way more prep work. Again, that's just my opinion. Someone else that's a professional that does painting professionally might tell you something totally different. But from my experience as a hardcore DIYer, I would recommend only spraying a new construction house, unless you just had an older house you're fixing up that you're going to replace the floors and trim later or something like that. Another thing you got to keep in mind too is you're going to have to learn the technique of spraying. So if you've never sprayed anything before, learning that technique of how fast you got to walk to how quick the paint's being delivered on the ceiling and stuff like that takes a little bit of time of getting used to. So with a standard old-fashioned roller, you really don't have to think about that. You just simply roll it until you got coverage. So any beginner can roll, but it does take a little bit of experience when it comes to spraying and back rolling. So that's just something you want to keep in mind too. So if you're going to be doing a brand new house like I'm doing, I'd say it's worth learning the technique. But if you're not and you just have a simple room to do, it's probably not worth learning the technique over. So that's just something you want to think about too. So, all right guys, well that's all I wanted to show you is what rolling a ceiling versus spraying a ceiling involves. And I wanted to say thanks a lot for watching. And if you're not familiar with my channel, I build houses from the ground up. I start from the foundation and do it pretty much myself, clear until the finished final trim work, painting, everything. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd recommend you subscribing. And again, my name's Josh. Check out my Amazon store and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.